Okay, so you've all been asking me what's happened to the E36 every day for as many days as I can remember, and rightfully so. So I'm gonna make this video just talking about it, which is gonna be a talking video. So I'm gonna try and keep it as concise and brief as I can and still get the point across. And obviously you all are more than welcome to ask questions if you want more details or anything like that. So without further ado, we'll start. Now we'll start when I was living at the old place, the one with the mechanic pit. YouTube was going full swing and the channel was actually growing really quick, which many of you might not have realized that I was actually a college student at the time. It was my senior year, and my second semester I got really overwhelmed. I was obviously a full-time student. I was making videos nonstop and working on the car pretty much every single day until dark, if not longer than that. And not to mention I was recently married then, so I had a lot on my plate and I ended up finishing the year. I wasn't able to graduate, I didn't have enough credits. So what I decided to do was partake in one of my school's program where if you stay away for 2 years you can come back under forgiveness and they'll wipe off a lot of your bad grades off like your student records. So that's what I decided to do. And obviously I was newly married at the time, so I wanted to get a place with my wife, so we decided to move into some apartments, which that was the beginning of the downhill slope, if you want to say. Now obviously working on cars and apartments is not a good mix, but I worked so hard to build the channel up and I really wanted to turbo the E36. That was the last thing I was working on before I moved out, so I went ahead and did it anyways. Now I actually made a few other videos around there, but mainly I was turboing the E36. I got as far as installing the turbo and hooking the lines up before my landlord shot that down real quick, which rightfully so, and I just figured I would get a shop. I was actually working at O'Reilly's at the time and I was working with commercial shops pretty much every day, so I figured I could find one pretty easy. So some time went by, I was looking around and I actually ended up buying another E36. It had been abandoned. I think the last registration was 2013, so it had been abandoned for about 6 years. The previous owner unfortunately passed away. The car was covered in dust, which it was actually a really clean car. It had been resprayed and the interior was the cleanest E36 interior I'd ever seen. It was black. I think there was one tiny rip, but everything else was like factory fresh. It was incredible. But I bought it and I was planning to either take the Sharkcar motor and put it in that and, you know, restart once I got a shop, or if all else fails I could take all the panels, everything out of that and use it as a donor car and put it on the E36, rebuild it so it'd be clean. Also get rid of the spray paint so I could have it actually painted. But I took that car and I actually put it into storage because I couldn't have it at the apartments. And that storage facility actually had shops there, but they were all occupied. But I set up so if anybody moved out, I was moving in. And I talked with them actually several times because I'd go check on the car, and they were actually planning to build like an extra row after the tax season, so I was real excited about that. So I was set up, already planned out the lease money, everything like that. But some more time went on and one day I come home and there's a letter on my door. The landlord was actually going to tow the E36, which she did the next day. She tried to tow the E36 and tow this car just because, which I ended up working out. It was a bit of a mess. I paid her like $100 not to tow it and I told her the car would be gone. So I took the E36 and thankfully my dad let me take it and drop it off at his place for a while, which he lives in this really classy neighborhood. It's the last place the Sharkcar should have ever been. So it was sort of a temporary thing. He's just holding it while I could figure out something else to do with it. So I had the Sharkcar was 3 hours away at my dad's. The other E36 was sitting in storage, just racking up bills, and then I had this. So I was beginning to be a bit stressed trying to figure that out, and then a few more months go by, and then this is when things started to get bad. I ended up getting a eviction notice for loud noise. The woman underneath me, she was an older lady, she never got out much. She complained about the noise and all that, and then later after I got mine, like a week or two afterwards, a neighbor got one from that same lady complaining for, I think she just walked her dog one time without a leash and she saw her. That's the type of woman this was. Which at that point I hit sort of a real low point. I couldn't work on cars, couldn't make videos. I was working a job I really didn't want to do, and I couldn't finish school at the time, which I'm back now, so don't worry about that. But I was beginning to get really stressed and just overwhelmed with life in general, to be perfectly honest with you. So I decided it'd probably be best just to try and get rid of both the E36s just until I figure something out, which I knew a guy, he had E36 previously, and I thought I'd help him out. I told him I'd give him the parts car E36 and then Sharkcar, which I was stripping all the parts off, just pretty much selling as a chassis and a motor, which I sold him both the cars super cheap. I even left the Sharkcar drivable so he can move it around, pull the motor and stuff, and he can give me my parts later. I left a bunch of parts on there for him. And he actually ended up just selling both the cars without telling me, which is kind of a scumbag move, but people have the reasons. I'm not one to judge. The Sharkcar ended up going to like a local drifter guy who's actually really cool. He has at least one E36 he drifts around. It's pretty sick. It's a good home. And I have no clue what happened to the parts car, but that thing was clean. I'm kind of upset I got rid of it. But that's what happened to the Sharkcar. It got sold. I had to do it. I still have all the parts of it. I'm gonna get another BMW. So where's the channel now? Obviously I just have the Miata, which since I don't have the E36 no more, I'm building up a drift car. So that's why I turboed this one. I put a hydro in it, larger brakes in the back, track pads. It's almost ready to drift. I just have to get a 1.8 diff welded, because the 1.6 diff, I got the LSD, the factory one, it's not good. And I also need a roll bar because the track here started requiring it this year for convertibles to have roll bars because a bunch of cars almost flipped. So it's kind of a good thing to have anyways. But as far as getting a BMW, after I get this driftable, that's kind of my first priority. I really want to hit the track again. I'm going to get ideally another E36 325i. I'm not interested in the 323i or 328 just because OBD2, because I'm probably going to turbo the car. I still have pretty much all the turbo stuff from the first E36. But I'm also eyeing E46s a little bit. E36s are starting to get a little rare, so I'm kind of wanting to get ahead of the curve and step up to those because they're in junkyards everywhere. So I've been thinking about getting like a 328 or 330i. It's pretty much going to come down to which one I can find in decent shape first. But for right now, I'm going to be focused on this thing, just trying to get it ready to drift. And then after that, I'm going to pick up a BMW and things will be all well. Now I am in school now. I'm trying to finish up my senior year. I'm doing a little victory lap. And hopefully I finish that up. I can, you know, get a proper shop and everything. That's my end goal. I miss having the mechanic pit, doing all that. It gets rough sometimes working in like a driveway. But that's pretty much the story. There's a lot more to it, but I'm trying to keep it brief and I don't want it to sound like some sob story or anything. So if you guys have any questions, just let me know. I'll try to answer them as best I can. And let me know what you miss about the E36, because I miss it all the time. I was going through my tools, I saw a little factory BMW wrench and it hit me in the feels. But that's gonna wrap this video up. Obviously, as I said like 3 times now, if you have any questions, just ask. But stay tuned, I'm gonna be working on this thing, opening the boost a little bit, some injectors soon, hopefully next week, maybe the week after. And there should be tons more videos to come.